and the foundational heart of the entire nest, the queen ant. If you're fascinated by ants or want to start your own ant colony, learning when to catch a queen ant is absolutely essential. This video will guide you through everything you need to know to catch a queen ant successfully. To begin with, it's important to understand what a queen ant is and why she is so important. The queen is the reproductive engine of the colony. In most species, she is the only one capable of laying fertilized eggs. Once a queen ant establishes a new colony, she can live for several years, even decades in some species, producing thousands, if not millions, of worker ants. Without her, the colony cannot survive in the long term. So if you're an aspiring ant keeper or simply curious about nature's complexity, catching a queen ant is the first step in starting your journey. Before we discuss when to catch a queen ant, let's briefly look at her life cycle. Queen ants emerge from their parent colonies during a special event called a nuptial flight. During this flight, virgin queens and male ants take to the air, mate mid-flight, and then the males typically die shortly afterward. The newly fertilized queens then land, shed their wings, and begin looking for a suitable nesting site. This window between the nuptial flight and the queen founding her colony is the perfect time to catch her. So, when does this magical nuptial flight happen? The timing of nuptial flights varies depending on the species and geographical location. However, there are some universal environmental cues that most ants follow. One of the most important signals is the weather. Nuptial flights usually occur after the first heavy rain following a dry period. This rainfall softens the soil, making it easier for queens to dig and start their new nests. So, keep an eye on the weather forecast. When you see that a significant rainfall is expected after days or weeks of dryness, be ready. The following morning, especially when the temperature is warm and the sun is out, is prime time for queen spotting. In most temperate regions, queen ants fly between late spring and early summer, typically from May to July. In warmer climates or tropical areas, the season can start earlier and last longer. For example, in parts of Asia, Latin America, and southern parts of the United States, you may observe nuptial flights as early as March or April. In contrast, in colder regions like Northern Europe or Canada, they might not begin until late May or even June. Now, how do you know if what you're seeing are actually queen ants? One key characteristic is wings. Queens and males both have wings before and during the nuptial flight. However, after mating, the queen sheds her wings. So when you spot a large ant without wings crawling along the ground shortly after a rainfall, you might be looking at a newly mated queen. One way to distinguish her from regular worker ants is by her size. Queens are noticeably larger and have a broader thorax, the middle segment of the body where the wings were once attached. Her movement will also be deliberate, as she's looking for a good nesting spot. Worker ants are quicker and more coordinated, often moving in organized trails. Some queens shed their wings almost immediately after landing. You might see them dragging their wings, trying to pull them off. That could be your opportunity to catch a queen. Different species have different flight schedules. Meanwhile, species like Camponotus carpenter ants have more sporadic and species-specific flights, sometimes flying in spring, other times in early summer. Queens tend to land on open ground, dirt paths, or near cracks and crevices where they can easily start digging. Pay special attention to spots where you've seen ant activity before. Never use your hands directly, as queens can be fragile. Tweezers with soft tips can also work, but you must be careful not to injure her legs or antennae. Fill about 1/3 of a clean glass or plastic test tube with water, plug it with cotton to prevent spills, and insert the queen on the dry side. If you've timed everything right and caught a healthy, fertilized queen, you'll soon see tiny white eggs appear. This is a magical moment. From here, if conditions are right, she will raise her first generation of workers on her own, without needing any food from you. The best time to catch a queen ant is right after a nuptial flight. These flights usually occur after a warm rain, during a humid and sunny morning, typically between late spring and early summer. And remember, patience is key. Some queens may not lay eggs immediately, but if conditions are right, Do not disturb natural colonies unless you're certain it's safe to do so. And always strive to give the queen the best possible conditions in captivity. Ants are not toys, they are living creatures with needs, instincts, and roles in the ecosystem. Treat them with care and respect. Now that you know when and how to catch a queen ant, all that's left is to prepare. Gather your tools, a flashlight for early morning searches, collection containers, test tubes, and a bit of research on local ant species. When the weather conditions line up, head outside and begin your search. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the incredible world of ants. If you enjoyed this video and want more insights into ant keeping, natural behavior, and species guides, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Drop a comment below if you've ever caught a queen ant or are planning to try. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind to nature, and keep exploring the tiny wonders of our world.